Now let's show you some of the features of Adobe Audition in Edit View. We have a number of files open here. As you can see, we have AGS Pacino, we have Ballad, we have Link 1, Link 4, and we have Steve Jobs Stanford, all various files we've been using as we've moved through this tutorial series. Now, to play any of the files that we see in the organizer window, all we need to do is double-click on the file to make it active. I'm double-clicking here on the various files that are open, and to play them, all we have to do is press the spacebar. Generally, the playhead will remain at the beginning of the audio file, so when you press spacebar, it should play from the beginning. Okay, very good.
That was a good moment when we recorded that in the studio. I remember...
If you want to know where your files are on the computer, there's a very, very handy way of doing it in the organizer window. Let's just drag the border of the organizer window out just a little bit. And let's go down to, there's two large buttons in the bottom right-hand side of the window. Show Cues is one, which we can leave off for the time being, and Full Paths. Now, when you press Full Paths, the computer will show you exactly where those files are. So mine are inside in Documents and Settings, Administrator, Desktop, Mastering, your Adobe Audition skills, and so on. This is very useful if you've opened multiple files across a computer network at work and you're trying to figure out where they are, so you can save copies of them into the same folder. And we can pull that back now and remove the Full Paths setting. Now let's look at some play modes. This is very useful as you'll be playing through a lot of audio and making edits. And you can adjust the different play modes by right-clicking on the play button, bottom left of the screen. So go down to the little play icon and right-click on the button. This will give you a whole load of customizations. You can play from the cursor to the end of view. This is very good if you're doing some very neat editing on a very small portion of audio. You don't want the audio playhead to keep skipping forward. Play from cursor to end of file is good if you're listening to longer pieces of audio. Here the cursor will start playing and skip ahead all the time, changing the view in the organizer window. You can play the entire file, or you can choose to enable the pre-roll and post-roll skip selection function. This is very useful for doing edits where you'd like to hear what the edit is going to be like before you make it. As we've seen in the past, by left-clicking anywhere on the screen will allow you to move the playhead. You can also move it by moving your cursor to the very, very top of the playhead. Over the yellow arrow, your cursor will turn to a little hand and you can move the playhead, I suppose, a little more smoothly. Pressing the spacebar will allow you to play.
I wasn't singing that. And he come up to me in the sound check and he went...
Now, selecting a range of audio to copy it, cut it or paste it is very simple. All you do is you left-click on the playhead, hold and drag. You can drag from right to left or you can drag from left to right. It's entirely up to you. If you want to refine the selection that you're making, again, go to the very, very top of the playhead until your cursor changes to a hand, and you can very smoothly adjust your selection. You can do this in combination with the zoom controls we learned about earlier by putting your cursor near the end or start of the selection and by rolling the mouse wheel forward. This gets you right in so you can really see what you're doing. Roll the cursor back out, move to the start of the selection, roll it in, and really precisely pinpoint your selections. Deleting the piece of audio we've just selected is very simple. We do it in two ways. The Edit menu and Delete Selection, or the keyboard shortcut, which is quite simply the Delete button. If we want to come out of this menu without having to click elsewhere, press the Escape button and it will bring you right back. That's deleting the audio. And it's gone. To bring it back, we press Ctrl-Z to undo, and it brings it back. Cutting the audio, for example, and putting it somewhere else is also very simple. And again, the keyboard shortcut is Ctrl and X. You can also find this control inside in the Edit menu. So Ctrl and X, that cuts the audio from there. All we need to do now is move our playhead to indicate to the computer where we want it, in this case the end, and we'll paste it. The keyboard shortcut here is Ctrl and V. And there is that clip now at the very end. Very simple, isn't it? To get that back to where it was, again it's Ctrl-Z. Once and twice. Final thing I'll show you in this video is how to trim audio. This is very useful for news journalists who want to do very quick topping and tailing of audios. Let's imagine this is a news clip and we just want this section of the audio. We've already listened to it or auditioned it to ensure that our edits and our selections here are correct, but we want to get rid of the bit at the front and the bit at the end of the file. Very simply here, hold down the Control button and press T. Control T trims the audio. Again, a great keyboard shortcut and very useful for day-to-day editing. That's you up and running with basic editing. We'll see you in the next video.